Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Lessons at Fingertips. Here we are going to discuss on some important topics in very simple words so that it's easy for you all to remember. Before starting my topic today, let me tell you all that please do subscribe to my channel. Please do subscribe to my channel and share with your friends. Well, this video to this topic, balance of payment, is a requested one. So if you guys have got any kind of, you want to see videos on any kind of certain topics, please do mention in the comment section below. So let's move on with our topic. Balance of payment. What is balance of payment? Well, before going to this, you guys must be knowing that the countries, they conduct international trade, isn't it? Well, some country will be exporting, the other one will be importing. Now, whenever you, even at your house, you are purchasing or selling some goods, you are related to some business, you will be keeping an account of that, isn't it? You will be seeing that what are my receipts, what are my payments. Similar thing happens with the countries during the international trade. Here also the country needs to keep a systematic record of all economic transactions, right? So the country needs to keep a systematic record of all economic transactions. What does economic transactions imply? It implies the money paid or received in terms of goods and services. What goods have been sold, what services have been sold, what have been received. So all the things, not only on goods and services, unilateral payments, unilateral transfers and receipts, that thing. So everything includes the economic transactions, anything related to money. So it is a systematic record of all economic transactions taking place between the residents of one country and that of the other country during a given period of time, which is usually considered as a year. Usually 1 year. So BOP is basically that systematic record of all economic transactions taking place between the residents of one country and the residents of some other country, for residents of foreign country, during a given period of time, usually 1 year. I hope you have understood till here. Next, if I say what is basically the BOP is the difference between all the money flowing into the country in a particular period of time and outflow of the money to the rest of the world. What money is inflowing, coming into the country? When will money come into the country? Export is made. When will money outflow from the country? When import is done. So how much export, how much import has been done by the country? How much money have been flowing into the country? How much is going out of the country to the rest of the world? So that difference is seen in BOP. The systematic record includes, what does the systematic record include? All the transactions that are made by or to certain individuals or corporates or even by the government. Okay, and why is this record done? Because it helps in monitoring. The flow of funds to develop the economy. If you do not have the record, if you do not have the track of how much money is going out, how much is coming, what are the exports done, what are the imports, how will you analyze the condition of the economy? It's not possible. So to do that, to keep the monetary record, to keep to help in monitoring this, what is done? The record is done. The systematic record is done, and the systematic record includes all the transaction to and by every individuals, corporates, or even the government. When all the elements, what elements? The imports and the export, the inflows and the outflows are done properly, are recorded properly, and if it is equal, if the resultant is 0, then we call it a perfect BOP. A perfect BOP, isn't it? What does that imply? Whatever have been the import is equals to the export. Import equal to the export. Inflow equal to the outflow. Then we call what? Perfect. Perfect BOP. But usually this do not happen. Usually this do not happen. Sometimes we have surplus BOP. Sometimes we have deficit BOP. When do we have surplus BOP? Surplus BOP when import is less than the export. When import is less than the export, we call it surplus BOP. When what is deficit BOP? When import is more than the export, we call it deficit BOP. Let us see here, when all the elements are correctly included in BOP, it should sum up to 0 in a perfect scenario. That is, the inflow and the outflow of the funds have balanced out. If the export is greater than the import, it is surplus BOP. In case export less than the import, it is deficit BOP. So this was the introduction about BOP. What is BOP? What are the economic transactions? What is the systematic record? What is a balanced BOP? What is a surplus BOP? What is a deficit BOP? We have discussed here. Now let us move on to the components of BOP. What is component? What is the term component imply? It implies that all the items that are included in BOP. What are all the items that are included in BOP? It may be import and export of goods and services. It may be unilateral receipts or unilateral payments. It may be income receipts or income payment. It may also be capital transfers, capital receipts and capital payment. Now import, so we basically have two different categories. One is the current account, one is the capital account. The current account includes what? All economic transactions, all receipts in terms of goods and services, all receipts or payments in terms of goods and services, all receipts and payments in terms of unilateral transfer. What is unilateral transfer? Unilateral transfers are certain transfers made by the government which do not follow the quid pro quo. What does that imply? Means in return nothing is given. If for example, I am happy as the leader of this country, I am happy with some other country because of some reason, so I am giving a gift to them. Okay, it may be anything. I am giving a gift to them, I am giving a memento. So in return they are not going to make any payment for that. That is unilateral transfer. The transfers which do not follow quid pro quo, that is no return is expected from that. Okay, to maintain a good relation, between the country, between the government of the country or maybe the residents of the country, gifting, sending the gifts, that's the unilateral transfer. So that is included where? In the current account. And also the income receipts and payments are also included in the current account. Next, for the capital account, what is included? It includes the relating to the change in the asset, capital receipts and capital payments, the transactions which can make a change in the asset, financial or physical. Okay, change in the assets, both financial and physical, that is capital account. Now you must remember the current account is flow in nature. It is flow in nature, whereas the capital account is stock in nature. The nature of the capital account is stock. Now let me tell you, this is the credit side and debit side. What is credit side? Implies the receipts. The debit side implies the payments. Now when both of these sides are equal, we call what? Balanced BOP. If the credit side is greater than the debit side, we call it what? Surplus BOP. The opposite if happens, if debit side is greater, we call it deficit BOP. Now in terms of the current account, what is it including? Export of goods and services, import of goods and services, unilateral transfer received and unilateral transfer payments in the debit side, and income receipts in the credit side and income payment in the debit side. But for capital account, it will include only the capital receipts and capital payments, the asset receipts or the asset payments. Got it? So this was basically almost half about the BOP. Next, we will be discussing what are the causes of the surplus or the deficit that is occurring in BOP. Okay, so let's move on to that part. Here we are going to discuss on the causes of the balance of payment deficit. The first reason is fall in the foreign demand. What does this imply? Now, what is this balance of payment deficit? Remember, it implies what? That my exports are less than my imports. That is, imports are greater now. Now, if what does this fall in foreign demand implies? If the demand, why are we exporting? Why a country will export? Because in foreign the goods are demanded. Someone is trying to import the good, that's why a particular country is exporting, making the export, isn't it? Now, if the demand that arises from the foreign countries, there is a fall in that demand, then what does that imply? The import will reduce, definitely. That is what is happening here. So, because of certain reason, maybe they can now get the products from some other different country at much cheaper rate. Maybe their tastes or preferences have changed. Because of this certain reason, what can happen? Fall in foreign demand can happen. This implies what? That my exports are now going to reduce. Definitely, maybe more than my imports. So my exports are going to reduce. This is first reason. The second one is inflation in domestic country. What does this imply? Inflation in domestic country means the price of the product in my own country have increased a lot. So now what I can do is I can use some imported good. If I see the price of a perfume that I am using in my country, it was earlier rupees 100. But because of inflation, it has reached to maybe something like rupees 600. But at rupees 500, I can get some branded imported perfume. So I will be using that, isn't it? So what is happening? The imports in my country is increasing. Why? Because now the imported goods, the goods from the foreign country that are imported, that can be availed at a much cheaper rate than the goods in my domestic country. Understanding? So that is the second reason. The third point is developmental expenditure. What does this imply? Countries like India, which are developing countries, what do? They import what? Capital goods or machineries. What does this imply? The huge machines, the capital goods are imported from the developed countries because they are much developed in technology. And why are we importing? So that we can produce the good in a much easier way, more quickly. Okay, so what does that imply? There is a development which is taking place. So whatever this expenditure is made is basically done for developmental expenditure of my own country. So what does that imply? The imports are increasing here than the export. Next, increased debt burden. When our country is purchasing this kind of huge machineries, mostly that thing is done on, it's on loan. It's done on debt. Okay, what does that imply? That the country is not making the payment now. It will make payment in future. But that will impose what? Interest on the debt amount. Interest will be imposed. So what does that imply? Now, if the cost of my import was rupees 500, now because of interest, every day it's increasing by rupees again 100. So what is happening? The increased debt burden. The fifth one, increase in population. When the population in my domestic country is increasing, that implies the demand for the commodities produced in the country is increasing. That implies what? The goods for export are reducing. Now the country do not have enough capacity to export the goods. Why? Because most of the goods are used for the consumption of its own population. So increase in population implies what? Moreover, the country will rather import the goods. Okay, export is reducing. This has got two implications. Export is reducing and there is a chance of import to increase. The last one is the political factors. There are certain countries where from which the developed countries do not actually import at all, neither they export. They do not keep any kind of trade relations. Okay, sometimes mostly the developed countries will be exporting to those countries but won't be taking anything. So that kind of political factors may be a reason for this cause of deficit in BOP. So now we are going to discuss on the measures to correct the disequilibrium in BOP. That is, we will concentrate basically on how to increase the exports than the imports. So first reason is depreciation. What is let me tell you what is this thing is. Suppose earlier $1 implied rupees 50. But now $1 implies rupees 60. What does that imply? That the value of the domestic currency has fallen, depreciated. The value of the exchange rate have depreciated. The value of the domestic currency have depreciated. And the value that of the foreign currency has appreciated. Isn't it? So what will happen? What will be the implication of this? What will be the result of this? Earlier the import, if the price of some good, if the import costed me rupees 50, now it's costing me rupees 60. So will that not be expensive now? Why will the country make the import then if it's becoming more expensive? So this can be a reason for reducing the import. Also now exports, while the country was making export earlier, a 50 rupee value good costed him $1. The country used to get $1. But now selling a 50 rupee value good will not let it bring $1, rather less than $1. So this will act as a push towards the export. So because of this, imports will be reducing and the exports will be increasing. Got it? Second thing is import control. The government can take certain measure to control the import. It can apply some custom duties. It can apply some taxes on the imports that are made to reduce the import in a country. That is import substitution. Next is, the third point is export promotion. Provide some subsidy on the export, reduce the custom duty done during the export. We have read already, while making the imports they need to pay the custom duties, they have the custom formalities. Similarly for exports they have the custom duties, custom formalities. So while export promotion reduce all those things, and while import increase all those things, will actually result to the control, will reduce the import and increase the export definitely. So this was the export promotion. The fourth one is production of import substitute. What if I cannot import the goods from the foreign country? What if I just make the substitute for that good? A particular machine or maybe a particular perfume, if it's imported, why can't our country make the same substitute for that particular perfume with maybe the same fragrance or maybe some better fragrance with better quality? It can easily make, isn't it? So that is what production of import substitute. The last one is monetary policy. The central bank can impose some monetary policy. How? Like it can increase the the level. It can make sure that it can utilize its monetary policies to reduce the availability of money in the people's hands, in common people's hands, or maybe in businessmen's hands. It can increase the reserve ratios. Some amount of money is reserved with the central bank, isn't it? Some amount of money are itself reserved with the commercial bank. So the RBI can increase this reserve ratios so that the availability of money in the common people's hand or in the businessman's hand, so that bank cannot provide loan. There is reduction in the availability of loan, because bank is itself not having the money now. So how will it provide the loan? So if this kind of policies takes place, then also there will be reduction of import, but there will be promotion of export. People will try to export the goods so that the availability of funds takes place. So these were the certain measures to correct the disequilibrium in BOP. So I hope you have liked this video. Please do hit a like and subscribe to my channel for more such informative videos. If you want to know any such about any such topics, please do mention in the comment section below. I will make sure that I can make a video on that. Thank you. Bye bye.